Are you ready to talk tyres? Because this is my review face. Welcome to Intense. My name's Alex Garner and today I'm giving you my opinion and review of the Falken Wildpeak MT01 mud terrain tyre. So I guess any good review video starts off saying whether you're affiliated with the product or not. In this case, I'm not. I paid full retail price for these, which was about $280 each fitted, if I can recall correctly. And at the time, 2017, they were quite new to the Australian market. So good price there when I was shopping around for all sorts of other things. Your more popular brands seem to be up around the $350, $380 a tyre. Seemed like a bargain, something new to the market. Thought I'd give them a go. As you can see, it's a fairly aggressive pattern, mud terrain. It is in the 265/75 R16 size, which if you're using old money terminology, it's about a 32-inch tyre. I would never go anything that's not light truck construction on my four-wheel drives. There's plenty of videos on the internet about choosing light truck versus passenger car tyres for your 4B. I'm not going to go there too much. At this point, they have nearly 60,000 kilometres on them. I did do a shorter term review when I think they had 15,000 kilometres on it, but I didn't do a video on that. That was only on the blog. So if you want to read what I thought about them then, I'll put the link down in the description for intenseoffroad.com on the blog. So first impressions I can remember from, actually to be honest, from reading my own blog post, rolling out of the workshop, is they were so quiet, as quiet as any all-terrain tyre I've ever driven on. And I fully expected them to become louder as time went on, and they did. And the noise from them sort of started to set in at about 20,000 Ks. It hasn't been too annoying with noise, to be honest. Other people can hear them coming up the street. I noticed sort of general loudness within the cabin has crept in, but it's not the really reverberating noise that you get on the highway with some mud terrain tyres. So that's nice. Handling in the wet is something that people often comment on with a mud terrain tyre on the pavement. A lot of people claim reduced stopping power, sliding around really scary on roundabouts. No problems here. They have been absolutely fine on the tarmac with regards to grip and stopping. I did notice handling was a little bit sloppier when I first got on the tyres, and that has remained true for the whole duration I've owned them. Sort of holding onto the wheel, it's a little bit more vague than it was on its old all-terrain tyres that I had. My biggest gripe with these tyres has been balance with regards to handling, but I won't go into that just now. We're going to talk about their off-road performance first, and we'll start with how do they go on sand. The future's so bright, I've got to wear shades. Okay, let's get the obvious out of the way. They're a mud terrain tyre, not a sand terrain tyre. So they don't go as good in the sand as they do in the mud. Some people have a differing opinion to mine. A lot of people I've spoken to say they reckon their muddies are just as good in the sand as anything else. But I feel the difference. When I first got this Patrol, it had a set of rather worn out Cooper ATR all-terrain tyres on it. And on the sand, down at Buffalo Beach near Australind, the first time I took it on the beach, I accidentally left it in two-wheel drive. I did have the tyres deflated. I got all the way up the beach and I did not even realise the car was not struggling. In contrast, we went down there for the Christmas special, and on these tyres, I can feel it working. In four-wheel drive, I can feel it working. So look, they get through the sand okay, but there's a lot of extra strain on the vehicle trying to push through. While we're there, of course, we better talk about letting the things down. They're a big, tough, light truck mud terrain tyre. I do occasionally require a little less pressure in there. I'll start off at 18. 18 PSI is my go-to if it's a good firm beach. 15 is not uncommon. And then for something really soft like this video where we went to Lancelin to Cervantes, that beach there we're down 10, 12 PSI. So got to let a little bit more air out for those beach runs. Overall, look, they go okay on sand. I've not got seriously bogged. When I do, I just let out a bit more pressure and off I go. I came to the back of the vehicle to talk about mud. How do they go in mud? Then I realised I didn't tell you about how many different tyres I have. I only bought 4 of these. On the back here I've got a Toyo AT open country for a spare. I really did want to have 5 of them in rotation, but I've got the ROH Monsoon alloy rims, 4 of them, and then I've got a classic GU Steely on the back there. These bloody rims don't fit on the back door. So, not to mention I don't have a 5th wheel to put in rotation, but if I was to rotate one of those Monsoons and try and put it on the back door, it wouldn't happen. So I've only got 4 and then my spare up on the back door. Now that I've covered that, how do they go in mud? Bloody amazing. It's pretty obvious. Look at the things. They're very aggressive. They've got mean sidewall biters on there. Nice wide open tread pattern. So they clear mud really good. I can't say I've ever had a problem with traction in the mud, except for the ones where they're not big enough and it ends up high centered on a piece of, on a mud hole. They're the only problems I have. Look, similarly, let's bundle rocks in here and talk about rocks at the same time we talk about mud. Traction on rocks, I've never slipped up. Again, see what I did there, that little pun? Slipped up. Yeah, they've never slipped. One problem I have had with rocks is chipping. These things chip like, it's like a packet of Sandboys. That's how many chips we're talking here. Sandboy classic original potato chips, like that. We'll talk a bit more about the wear, which is probably my biggest issue. Actually, let's talk about that now because I've pretty much said it all. They go good in mud, they clear well, I've never had a problem with traction. Let's talk about tyre wear. 60,000 kilometres and not one puncture. I am pretty impressed with that. Though to be honest, I've never had a huge problem with punctures. I don't know if I'm just careful where I drive or I'm good at avoiding them, but punctures through the tread aren't my problem. If you were to look at the front driver's side tyre on this, you'd notice it's got 2 times the meat on it than any of the others do. And that's because I ran over about that much of a rusty old Star Picket once, straight through the sidewall. Bin job for that one. So how about the tread wear level? Well, looking at the little wear guides in there, nearly 60,000 kilometres on it, I think if I wanted to push it all the way down to that wear limiter, I'd get 80,000 Ks out of this set of 4. Now they've been rotated regularly, well looked after. I'm very careful with my pressures. I've run 42 in the back and 40 in the front on the roads, and I'm forever adjusting up and down to suit whatever tracks I'm on. But earlier on I said these tyres are at the end of their life. You see, from the get-go, I've had a big problem with balancing these tyres. I'd take it in for a balance and it would come out sweet. They'd put 40 grams on it, something like that, and it'd be well balanced for the next 4,000 kilometres. Now I thought it might be classic patrol wobbles because it's happening in that same sort of 70, 80 k an hour speed range. But every time I'd go and get them balanced again, the wobbles would go away. As we neared 30, 35,000 Ks, the balancing issues were getting a lot worse. I'm talking 80, 100 grams of weight going on there. We got to 45, 50,000 kilometres and I had 180 grams of weight clipped halfway around the wheel here. That was the last time I bothered to get them balanced. That was right before I went over to South Australia in October 2019. So over to Adelaide and back, which is, I don't know, 6,000 kilometres. And when I got back, we had done a mixture of corrugated roads, a little bit beach, a hell of a lot of highway. When I got back, the wobbles were just uncontrollable. It would just thump, thump, thump around in my hands. So I got it taken to a bloke who knows a fair bit about patrols, and he was going to have a look over this thing and, you know, make sure it wasn't in the steering or suspension that was causing me the problems, and do these tyres a balance. He said I got to 220 grams on one of the wheels. I tried to balance that one up. I got the other one balanced up okay. I got to the ones on the back and it was asking for 800 grams of weight. As it stands at the moment, I'm sort of just running around town getting by on them. He's put them on his wheel balance machine and spun them up, and the tread like wiggles around on the tyre. Prior to having that done, I don't know if you can see it here, there's a little mark. I thought my balance issues might have been from the tyres spinning on the rims. So I put a little paint mark across there. Has not moved 1 millimetre. So look, let's be honest, it's a grim end to the review. It's not the way I hoped they'd go out. It's a very unusual problem. A lot of people have sort of said, oh shit, I've never heard of that happening before. Maybe I'm the only person in the world that's had the balancing problem. They've got good tread wear life on them. I'll let you make the judgment. I'm not going to say good or bad. And we'll leave it there. We'll see what I decide to purchase next. So there you go. That's my honest opinions, review, whatever you want to call it, on the Falken Wildpeak MT01. It's got a good tread life on it. It's got excellent traction. Drivability is brilliant in pretty much every way. It's just a shame that I had to come across the chipping and balancing issues. Looking past these tyres, looking to buy myself a new set obviously. I'm going to go for an all-terrain next, I think. I do not know what one. But I'm going to shop around on the market, see what comes up at the right price, read around reviews, see what everyone else thinks. Choosing tyres is always a hell of a big mission for me. So on that note, I'm going to go and start that mission. Thanks for watching. If you found any value in this review, do make sure you go down there, subscribe, like it, share it with someone that might like to know. And I'll see you again on a future episode of Intense.